That's right, everybody. Tony Sonic has allowed me to host a video of my own this time. Figured it'd be fitting given the subject we're tackling. Now, let's begin, shall we? Everyone loves a good hero, but eventually they're gonna come across a being that can match them and maybe even look like them. This is their rival. There have been multiple rival characters across the history of gaming, but out of all of them, I have chosen 10 as my favorites. Tony Sonic's one per franchise and only games I've played rule applies here, with some additional rules. Number 1. Design. How are these rivals designed, and how well do they contrast with their respective protagonists? Number 2. Personality and presence. What are these rivals like, and how often do they appear to either challenge or even help the hero? And number 3. Boss fights. This is a big factor for me. A rival can be well designed and have a good personality and presence, but if their boss fight is crap, then it's going to be huge points against them. Well, that's everything. Shall we begin?
Warp Shadow. I'm the world's ultimate life form. There's no time for games. Farewell!
Celeste is an absolutely beautiful game. It stars a young woman named Badeline as she attempts to climb Celeste Mountain. However, this ain't no ordinary mountain. It's a magical place that puts Badeline through hell during her journey to the top. One of its means of doing so is by manifesting her inner demons into one being, which the fans have dubbed Badeline, because who doesn't love a good pun? Anyways, Badeline's design is simple but effective. She's basically Madeline but purple, which is one of the colors associated with one's darker side. As for who she is, well, like I said, she's essentially the darkness in Madeline's heart. She's rude, selfish, and very discouraging of Madeline's ascent. She shows up several times throughout the game to impede Madeline's progress in any way she can, even going so far as to knock her all the way down to the bottom of the mountain. It's only until Badeline learns to accept her bad side that Badeline finally stops tormenting her and even gives her a boost in power to help her get back to the top. Well, after she tries to kill Badeline in the boss fight. Speaking of which, her fight is pretty good. You have to dash into her to open up pathways leading further into the mountain, all while avoiding her projectiles and lasers and rocks falling from the sky. Also, the music! So yeah, all things considered, Badeline's a pretty good rival. But what's she doing at the bottom, you may ask? Well, the thing is, she's good and all, but everyone else on this list goes a lot harder than she does. Sorry girl, but for what it's worth, you did good with what you had.
Also, you probably didn't realize this given your harsh treatment of Nemesis and Elder Princess Shroob, but Henry is actually considered a very popular rival character. In fact, he's regarded as one of the greats alongside Virgil, Jeanne, Meta Knight, Wario, Metal Sonic, Dark Pit, and many others. So how many sins should I give you for daring to call him bad?
Well, you gave him 14. You should have given him 40. Henry Cooldown, or as Travis calls him,
Mr. Sir Henry motherfucker,
is the twin brother of Travis Touchdown, the main character of the No More Heroes series. His design, while seemingly nothing special on its own, is actually the polar opposite of Travis's. Travis is shoddily dressed and trying to look cool, while Henry is well dressed and is more sophisticated. He's also Irish.
Shall we get this over with? And don't hate me if I play a tad dirty.
He also contrasts Travis in terms of personality. Travis is hot-headed and arrogant all the time, while Henry remains cool, calm, and collected almost all the time. Until No More Heroes 3, that is. Which, can I just say, I feel like Henry's character was bastardized in this game. And that's not just because of the voice change. In previous games, especially the second game, he and Travis had a rivalry, but they still loved each other like the brothers they were. Here though, he seems to outright hate his brother and is a lot more angry towards Travis, which goes against who he was meant to be. And the reason for that is because he watched Thor. No, I'm being serious. I mean, it's funny, I suppose, but also really stupid, which is kind of Suda51's thing, but doing it at the cost of ruining someone's character isn't fun. At the very least, the new guy could have put on an Irish accent. That would have made things a little better. Without it, he's just Albert Wesker. But not fun.
Taste my cursed crucifix blade.
This sword cuts like no other.
Well, at least his boss fights are pretty good. Everyone praises this fight in the original game, and I don't blame him. His combos are fast and ferocious, he's got a strong attack, a dash attack, a state where he counters any attack, and an instant kill move. It truly puts your skills as a player to the test, but don't fight him on bitter mode, then he's just a damage sponge. In No More Heroes 3, it's a bit mixed. On one hand, he's got every move from last time, as well as some new ones, such as a second beam katana and some magical powers that let him fire beam slices, teleport, rip off Dante's stinger move, extend the length of his beam katanas, and create circling blades of energy. On the other hand, due to how luck broken the death spin can be if you get lucky, the fight can be really short. At least this time, Travis actually manages to kill him, until he comes back to light through his magic, and is apparently working towards world domination in No More Heroes 4, which we will get in 10 years! And in any case, Henry, while not the best rival, is still a pretty good contender.
That's right. All we can do is keep running.
Then let's find that exit they call paradise. Let's go!
So, who here has played Shovel Knight? The main objective of the game is to thwart the plans of the Enchantress and her Order of No Quarter, but in your way stands your rival, the Black Knight. As the name implies, Black Knight is, well, a Black Knight with more menacing looking armor than Shovel Knight's. In terms of personality, Black Knight's a bit of an anti-hero. He's not really working with the Order, despite the Enchantress constantly trying to convince him to do so, but he is trying to stop Shovel Knight from reaching her. Why? Because, and spoilers, the Enchantress is actually Shield Knight, corrupted by dark magic, and Black Knight had feelings for her. He shows up 3 times throughout the game, which is pretty standard stuff, but then you actually fight him. The first 2 fights are your typical everything you can do he can do too spiel, but after a little dose of magic from the Enchantress, he goes all out for the 3rd fight. He can fire magic projectiles while zipping around the arena, grow wings and fly around just out of your reach, and rain down meteors from the sky, 2 of which he can make explode. Now, aside from the last fight, you might be thinking that Black Knight is good, but not better than Henry and Badeline. But here's the thing. While Badeline showed up more often in the story, you only had 1 proper battle with her, and it was good, but not great. With Henry, he may have had harder boss fights and much better personality pre-No More Heroes 3, but he didn't have nearly as much presence as Black Knight, or even Badeline for that matter. That and the character assassination I mentioned earlier. With all that in mind, Black Knight edges out above those 2, but unfortunately doesn't get any higher due to the others being a lot better.
You? What's the matter, Bayonetta?
Oh, you thought I was gonna host a video and not talk about someone from my waifu's game? Well, you thought wrong. Jeanne is, at least in the first game, the former friend of Bayonetta and a fellow Umbra Witch. Starting with her design, she has white hair and wears a red outfit made of fabric in contrast to Bayonetta's black hair clothes, which actually reflects her personality and how it contrasts with Bayonetta's. See, Bayonetta, in case you couldn't tell, is super sexy, and is very open about it, while being highly sarcastic. Meanwhile, Jeanne is a lot more modest and nicer towards people, though she does have a bit of sarcastic moments here and there. Jeanne's appearances in the game are fairly frequent. Oftentimes she'll show up to either taunt you and give exposition, or fight you full on, which happens 4 times in the game. The first 2 are, like Black Knight, your typical everything you could do she could do too spiel, though the second fight does take place on multiple floating platforms in a rainstorm, so that's cool. The 3rd fight takes place on the outside of a plane with Jeanne using her bike, kinda cheating there but okay, and the 4th fight is the best one. It's more of the same stuff as before, but it has 4 phases, with each phase changing up where you fight. Phase 1 is on a rooftop, Phase 2 is on the side of a skyscraper. On a side note, in this phase, for reasons I will not disclose, Jeanne dons her own white-colored hair clothes, another contrast to Bayonetta's black. Also, there are moments in this phase where you play hot potato with missiles. Phase 3 is on a missile, and Phase 4 is on another rooftop, but with a wall you can fight on as well. Also, you can enter QTEs to deal massive damage, though your window for doing so is very tight. Now, I feel like I should mention that all this only happens in the first game. In Bayonetta 2, Jeanne goes back to being Bayonetta's friend, and even becomes the MacGuffin to collect for the main story, which prevents her from being any higher. Even so, she sits comfortably at the number 7 spot.
Bayonetta, time is of the essence. This can wait no longer.
If you could make a rival for Kirby, What would he look like? How about a serious looking knight with a mask and a cape that turns into bat wings? Yeah, that sounds about right. Okay, all joking aside, Meta Knight's design is a very good contrast against Kirby's cutesy look. He first appeared in Kirby's Adventure, seemingly as a general for King Dedede, and when you fight him later in the game, he even gives you a sword, showing a sense of honor. After you beat him, his mask breaks and it's revealed that Meta Knight is in fact a black Kirby, something that's kind of been done to death over the years. Anyways, back to his personality, there's not really much else to him aside from that sense of honor, which strangely holds true even when under dark influence, though he will break it if you take too long or attack him without the sword. He did try to conquer the world in an airship once though, but after that, Meta Knight has remained mostly a loner that occasionally decides to help Kirby on his quest. Or he ends up being captured and mind controlled to fight Kirby, that works too. Speaking of which, Meta Knight's fights throughout the series have been pretty good. Not the best, since the final bosses have always been phenomenal, especially in recent years, but Meta Knight stands strong regardless. On his own, he's got most of the attacks you do when using the sword ability, with a few tricks of his own, such as spinning like a tornado and summoning a tornado, but it's when he's been buffed that things get interesting. In Planet Robobot, he gets missiles, an electric barrier, a laser sword, and a claw. In Star Allies, he can duplicate himself and lift up boulders and throw them at you. Yeah, Meta Knight's pretty cool when he's got some buffs, though due to him being pretty samey without any of that fancy stuff, he barely misses the top 5. Even so, Meta Knight holds his own as a great rival.